All right, how's it going, everybody? Today we are with Ryan and myself talking about January Steam Day, which is Dungeons and Dragons character creation and 3D model creation, I guess, as well. So Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself and then kind of talk about what your game plan is?
Sure. So I'm Ryan Kaiser. I have a background in elementary education, also do focus on STEAM education and STEM for kindergarten through eighth grade. So I'm thinking on Saturday what we're going to do, since it's a focus on 3D design and Dungeons and Dragons. Micah is going to start off with having the kids do design. Do you want to talk about that first, actually, since that's going to be the first part, and then I'll pick up from
Yeah,
there?
actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so for the first half an hour, I'm going to be showing the kids how to create an actual Dungeons and Dragons character. And I'm going to be using that on Dungeons and Dragons website. It's called D&D Beyond. And it's really great. It's super easy to like walk through it all and kind of understand how to create the character online. So you won't need an app for that. But you will have to sign into some kind of Apple or Google account just so they can save the character and download the PDF for the paper. So like when you are when they're done creating the character, they'll have kind of like a virtual sheet that looks like this, but it'll be all filled out. It'll be virtual so they can save it.
So
But
most of my kids already play D&D.
oh, perfect. I mean, yeah, so the first half an hour is kind of like if they don't know how to create a character or they just don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons and they're interested in it, that's on them to join. If they already have a character in mind, or maybe they want to make a new character, they also can join in for that. But the first half an hour is really just to kind of walk through what it is to create a character. So I'll be explaining that and walking through them
So
on
we
D
could
Beyond.
so we could just use our D&D manual to make those character sheets, right?
Yeah,
We don't have to go and
if you guys have the physical books and everything, you can do it.
yeah, we do.
You can do it physically as well as we're going. But for those of you who don't have the handbook or any dice or anything, I'll be doing it virtually with D&D Beyond. Um, and so I'll literally just for the first half hour explain through classes and races and really just to help them paint a picture of what they want their character to look like. So that whenever Ryan takes over, they like have a vision of where they want to go with it. So
Yep, that's actually that's going to be perfect leading in because when they build, they're really going to have to be thinking about those different pieces and the components of their characters. So when they build it, doing that first will give them that visual to go off of. And actually, when I 3D print with my kids, we do a lot of sketching and things like that first because it really helps with that 3D print process. So then after Micah is finished, we're going to use an app called Tinkercad. It's free to download. They don't need to have an account or anything. They will have to have an account if they want to save their file. You may be able to download it to the iPad without an account, but if they definitely want to save it, I would have them save with a Microsoft or a Google account. But if they don't need to save it, if they're going to be able to save it straight to the iPad or take a screenshot or something for later, they do not have to have an account. They're able to use it without an account. So what that hour and a half is going to look like with yes,
sorry to interrupt, but you said the app was called Tinkercad with a T.
Tinkercad, Tinkercad.
T, okay, CAD, gotcha.
Yep, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So Tinkercad. So once we go on to Tinkercad, I'll spend probably about 20 to 30 minutes doing a little bit of background with Tinkercad, just in case it's some of the students' first time using it, just showing them how to place objects, how to change the sizes, how to change the shape, how to do cuts and different things like that. All that are going to be tools that they're going to be using when they create their character. And then we're going to go through the character building steps one by one of like, we're going to create a base for your character and then start building the character from the ground up. I'll show them how to change the colors of their materials that they're going to use, how to change sizes, how to adjust shapes and different things like that. And we're just going to work up building through their character, kind of problem solving along the way as we go. So that's where that having that planning page, either digitally or physically, that they're doing with Micah First is going to be a huge help because they're not going to have to think as much about what they want their character to be. We're going to be able to really focus on the building aspect of that. So on your end, it's probably just going to be kind of following along, problem solving, some things on the screen, but they should be able to follow along pretty well, especially if we already have that visual of that character in mind.
Yeah, that's so yeah, so Tinkercad is the app. I'll be sending an email out with the app just in case anyone who's not here needs to download it. But does anyone have any questions for Ryan or myself?
I have got a question. You both had mentioned them having, in order to save their creation, having a login, like a Google or a Microsoft login. We
Mhm.
have a Google login that we use for all of our iPads. Would it be better for us to use that, or should they come with that account information?
For my end, if they're all saved under one Google account, that's perfectly fine. I believe you can all be on D&D Beyond under the same account creating a character. So at least for me, one Google account, just one account in general will be fine. I don't know about Ryan's though.
Yeah, I'm thinking one Google account because they only would need their own Google account if they're going to 3D print at home or at a different location, so they can just log in and get their file. But if it's something they're going to be either just doing the 3D design at the library or doing there and printing there, the Google account that you have would be fine.
Thanks.
Yep.
And Micah, is that app called D&D Beyond?
It's their website. It's not an app.
Website, okay.
They might have an app. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be using the website version because that's what I'm most familiar with.
Okay.
You could also bookmark the website if you send them the link, Micah, they could add the website as a shortcut, a link, a bookmark on the iPad that they could just tap it and go to it.
Yeah, I'll email the link out as well along with the app information.
Just to clarify, the 3D character creation that we're doing on Tinkercad, this can then be attached to like a 3D printer that you said to make these like model
Yes.
characters?
So once they create and build it on Tinkercad, they'll be able to export the file. So they'll be able to export it as an STL, which will be able to go to a 3D printer.
How new do the 3D printers have to be? Like how many generations back? Does it have to be the most current? Or
No, and STL files are pretty standard for 3D printers. So they should be able to use it no matter what generation of 3D printer you have.
Yeah. And you guys will all be getting 3D printers later down the line. I think it's in March or April. I forget. I have to look back, but you guys will be getting brand new 3D printers down the line there. Also, Josh had put in chat that a free account on D&D Beyond only allows you to make 6 characters at a time. So if you do have more than 6 kids, you might want to use a second Google account, or also even just have the kids, I suppose, duo up and make the character together, especially if you only have 10 iPads and then they need to switch to Tinkercad to physically design the character. You might have to duo up with some kids. But yeah, thank you, Josh, for pointing that out. I didn't even know that. But yeah. So
We have a question at Chester County Library System. We need to know how big our 3D printers are because some of us do not have a lot of them.
I'm actually not sure how
So
big.
you have no idea yet?
Yeah,
Does
I-
Josh know yet?
no, I don't think he's actually like picked the 3D printer. I think when we go to order them, we're picking them. So I suppose I can pick them out sometime in February and let you guys know. They won't
Will
be.
they be about the size of a regular like laser jet?
Yeah, I'd suppose I would be about the same dimensions as a normal printer. It might be a little taller just because the nozzle like
Right.
moves around and But as far as like length and width goes, it should be the same as a normal printer.
Okay, that's what we were being asked yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So if everyone's good, I'm gonna let Ryan get back to work here. Is there an offline option to making characters? Um, do you mean like without being on the internet at all?
Yeah, like being without the D&D Beyond perhaps, or like if the kids want to do some of it by hand versus doing it on the tablet.
Yeah. There can I will send a link to download this physical sheet here. Um, it'll look something like, hold on, I gotta find it again. It'll look something like this for you to print out these as well, and I can we can walk through with them as well. I'll have my screen displayed with all of the characters and the classes and whatnot, so they can just look at the screen, whatever you use to help create their character. Yeah, I think the only thing is for the stats, when they go to roll their stats, they might not be able to do that part because you'll need dice for that. But I mean, they can at least, you know, create the character's name, get kind of like envision it, what it would look like, and get a backstory for them at least. So it'll get them started.
So
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you can answer the.
go ahead. I was just going to answer the Tinkercad one. Tinkercad is not super hard to learn to use. The iPad is actually really nice for people who are just starting to use Tinkercad because it's very like drag and drop. It's almost, I would say it's very similar to like building with a Lego on the iPad because they're going to drag down different shapes. And there's a search feature where they can search for specific things and they can just kind of drag and build. They'll be able to do some adjusting and things like that. But I will be teaching them from using the iPad, so my screen will look exactly like theirs as I'm showing them how to do different things. And that first like 20 minutes, a half hour tutorial, I'm going to show them how to use all the different controls and things. And I'm going to keep it pretty basic. There are some advanced features that you can use in Tinkercad, but I'm going to keep it just with basic building for this, just so that way it's accessible to everybody.
Mm. Yes, so for the dice roller question, D&D Beyond has its own virtual dice roller that'll fill in the stats for the character. But online you can also just manually enter it in if they don't want to, you know, take the chance and roll the dice, literally. But so you'll need probably one D20 per student. But I mean, you can also, I believe you can substitute it in with other dice. So you'll just need to roll more of that kind. But there are online dice rollers you can use. Like I think Google might have its own. If you just search up dice roll, I think you can use Google's version. But yeah. Are there any other questions at all?
If we were providing D20 dice, how many do we need? Like per student? Like I might be able to bring some in.
Yeah, I would say probably just one per student. I mean, they can also you know, take turns. So one student can roll the dice and then pass it on to the next if you want to do it that way. But it's really just it's one per student because you're just rolling for the stats and then that's you won't need dice anymore after that. But you can also have them, they can just manually enter in their own stats if they want. So they don't have to roll to randomize it. Like they can just fill in a number 1 through 20 if they choose. Yeah, but Google also does have its own dice rolling if you want to use Google's D10 or D20. But the rolling the dice for the stats isn't necessary. It just adds a randomized element to creating your character. But yeah. So if there's no other questions, I'm gonna let Ryan get back to work here. If you have any questions until before Saturday, just feel free to shoot me an email. And if it's about Tinkercad, I can loop Ryan in on the conversation. But other than that, I'll see you guys Saturday.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
See you guys.
Thanks, Micah. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.